Animal crackers. To put it mildly, Francis Henry Egerton, 8th Earl of Bridgewater (1756–1829), liked dogs. At the family home of a Shridge house in Hertfordshire, his 12 dogs would have dinner at the same table as the Earl. Each dog used to have its own personal servant who would tie a napkin around the animal's neck before serving the meal from silver dishes. However, Egerton did not totally indulge them. Any hound whose table manners left something to be desired was immediately banished from the table. When he was not at home, the Earl spent much of his time in France. He became a familiar sight in Paris, where he would drive in his carriage with half a dozen dogs inside, each sitting on a silk cushion. The dogs also wore handmade leather shoes, which were another of Egerton's passions. He used to wear a different pair of shoes for each day of the year, and every night they were solemnly placed beside those he had worn the previous day until there were rows and rows of them, all in the correct order. From an early age, Lionel Walter, the second Baron Rothschild, 1868–1937, showed an unnatural interest in natural history. On one occasion, as a teenager, he went to the seaside accompanied by his pet opossum and a tame dingo, which he used to take for walks along the seafront. When he began university, he took with him a flock of several dozen kiwis. But as an adult, Lord Rothschild could really indulge his fantasies. He used to like riding on giant tortoises, which he persuaded to advance by hanging a lettuce from a stick, which he held in front of the tortoise's nose. He also had a carriage which was pulled by 3 zebras and a pony, and the Baron would drive around the country roads near his family home. On a visit to the royal family, Rothschild drove all the way to London in his zebra-drawn carriage, which he parked outside Buckingham Palace, much to the amazement of his royal friends. Irish landowner Adolphus Cook was a firm believer in reincarnation. He was convinced that his late father Robert had returned as a turkey on the family estate at Cooksborough. Following Cook's strict instructions, his menservants would remove their hats whenever they saw the bird, and his women servants had to curtsy. Adolphus Cook owned a large red setter named Gusty, who used to run away and mix with common dogs. One day, Cook decided that enough was enough. He warned the dog of the punishment he had in mind, and to emphasize the point, the dog was shown a rope and a tree. Shortly afterwards, one evening in 1860, Gusty ran away again. Cook immediately arranged for the dog's trial to take place the following morning. Local workmen were called to give evidence, and a special jury found the animal guilty of misbehavior. Cook found the dog guilty of ingratitude and sentenced him to death. Just before the sentence was carried out, the executioner claimed that the dog had spoken to him in a foreign tongue. Cook was convinced that the dog too was a reincarnation, and his life was spared.